Good morning, everyone. Today is April 26th, 2020, and it is a gorgeous sunny day here in Mesa, Arizona. I am so grateful that you are tuning in today. As always, I miss your faces. I'm a stay-at-home person as well. I do work a day job from home during the week, and I'm fortunate. I'm very busy, actually. But this is my favorite thing to do, is to be with you in your own home or in person. So let's begin with a fun song to start our day off. It's called I've Got Peace Like a River. So please join me and clap your hands and stand up if you feel like it and get some energy going in your body. I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean in my whole soul. I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got peace like a river, I've got love like an ocean, I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got peace like a river, I've got love like an ocean, I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. Yeah. Oh, singing always brings my vibration up. Okay, let's take our hands into prayer and turn within. Consciously following our breath from our nose down to the root of our spine, inside, breathing and connecting to the God within. Mother, Father, God, we thank you for this beautiful day. We thank you for this gift of breath. For we know that is the gift of breath. That is you breathing me. I certainly don't make it happen on my own. And we acknowledge that our heart is beating all on its own. What a gift. We're grateful for our community. We're grateful for the abundance that we have in our lives, starting with our breath. Mother, Father, God, I feel you in every cell of my being. I feel that love. I feel the peace, and I feel the joy as we connect to this divine place within us where we are all one, where there is one, where there's one God, and that God is you. Here, I will have silence so that you can put your own intentions in today. In the affirmative. I know that. I thank you for. Father, I know that you're in the midst of all of the coronavirus that's happening right now. We know there is a plan, and we also see healing and peace spreading throughout the entire globe, and for this we are truly grateful. We see your love spreading throughout the entire globe, loving and supporting those who are grieving and those who are thriving, and we're grateful for all of it. Father, we know that you lift our consciousness above fear. We keep our vibration high so that we can continue to send our love and our light out into the world, and of course beginning with loving ourselves. We know that this is our job, our individual job, and it makes a huge difference to connect at the core of our being with the God of our being by loving ourselves and then sending that love out to our families, doing our personal work. And today, as we focus on being the light of the world, being love, we know you are here in all of it, and we know that we are God. And so we say, so it is. All right. I wanted to begin this morning with a quick meditation that I've been working with this week. It's a mantra that I discovered through Kundalini yoga, and the mantra is very simple. It's whenever you're feeling any kind of anxiety or stress, just turn the television on. When you start feeling that anxiety or stress welling up within you, no matter what the situation is, the mantra is, peace begins with me. And I say it segmented like that because then we use a mudra with it. And the mudra is you take your thumb to your index finger. You can do it on both hands or just one hand. And you say, peace begins with me. Inhale. Peace begins with me. And if you're in a business meeting and you're upset, you don't have to close your eyes. Just put your hands down at your sides and peace begins with me. You don't even have to say it out loud. And you do this mudra and this mantra until you feel in the core of your stomach no more stress. Until you feel peace. It can happen very quickly, or depending on the upset, it could take a while. But just repeat, peace begins with me. Until you feel that peace within you. And it works. So I'm going to be quiet and we'll try it for just a moment, okay? Maybe you could start with something that does stress you out. Fill your head with something that stresses you out. And you feel unease. And now we will begin taking an inhale. Peace begins with me. 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 Taking a deep inhale. And exhale. Okay, so today's talk is called Holy Ground. We're being called into a connection with the sacred. And today we will do that by first looking at an amazing story that happened in Exodus chapter 3 in the Bible. It is when a young Moses, while shepherding his sheep, comes upon a bush that is burning, but it's not being consumed. As he steps closer to imagine it, the voice of God says, "Do not come near. Take the shoes off your feet, for the place which you stand is holy ground." This is a turning point in biblical history. It is the time when Moses received the call from the God of his being to make that sacred connection, to connect with the sacred. And in that connection, to be who he came here to be, and to do what he came here to do. And he came here to be a great leader and to free the Israelites from slavery. It is from this moment that Moses lived his divine purpose. Not always without some kicking and screaming, but live it he does. In our New Thought tradition, we believe that the Bible is written on many levels and layers, and that the deepest level is the level that addresses our developing and deepening connection with the God of our being. I forgot to turn my phone off. Hi, Julia. It's Julia Norton. Okay, sorry about that. So while the historical level, this incident is about Moses. So while at the historical level, this incident is about Moses making the sacred connection. At a deeper level, it is about our sacred connection and the revelation that we are each standing at the point of a divine call to be that which we are meant to be. That we each have burning within us the flame of the great I am. And so wherever we stand, it is sacred. It is revered. Wherever we are standing on holy ground. Bishop John Shelby Spong, in his book entitled A New Christianity for a New World, talks about the change of looking at God from a theistic external being to experiencing God as, to use his words, the ground of all being. In the book he says, can we not begin to envision a transcendence that enters our life and also calls us beyond the limits of our humanity toward the ground of all being, including our own? Can we cease the groveling to a supernatural being to parent us, to take care of us, to watch over us, and to protect us? Can we reject those patterns of our past and open ourselves in new ways to discover the ground of being that is met and known in the self as expanded consciousness? Wow. Charles Fillmore couldn't have asked better questions today. We are being called to stand on the ground of holy. We are being called to stand on holy ground, the powerful place of beingness, firmly knowing that we meet God and our God at the core of our being. It took strength and courage for Moses to become the one who would free the Israelites from the tyranny of the Egyptians. This story illustrates to us this idea of standing on the ground of being. and having the courage to be. We all stand on holy ground, on the holy ground of being. This morning, our invitation is simple. Do you have the courage to be your truth? There's a great line delivered by Denzel Washington in movie The Manchurian Candidate. He said, "Beyond what has been planted in us is the truth. We have to find that truth. It's the only thing that will save us." Do you have the courage to be your truth? Do you have the courage to be your gifts into the world and live on purpose? Do you have the courage to be love when fear is all around you? Do you have the courage to be peace when discord seems to be the prevailing energy? Do you have the courage to be abundance when all around are bemoaning lack? Do you have courage to be health when disease seems to have attacked your body? Do you have the courage to recognize that wherever you stand, you are standing on holy ground? We are being called to love ourselves and our neighbor more than ever today. It is my belief that love will usher us to a new way of being, a new way of living. And how do we find our way into one another? What is our harmonizing blueprint? And how do we love? Charles Fillmore writes in Dynamics for Living. He encourages us to meditate on love. The ordinary man is not aware that he possesses this mighty power, which will turn away every shaft of hate that is aimed at him. Here is a faculty native to man, existent in every soul, which may be used at all times to bring about harmony and unity among those who have been disunited through misunderstanding, through contentions, or selfishness, or perhaps a pandemic. The thought of hate will be dissolved, not only in the mind of the thinker, but in the minds of those with whom he comes in contact, in mind or in body. I want to repeat that. The thought of hate will be dissolved, not only in the mind of the thinker, but in the minds of those with whom he comes in contact, in mind or in body. I have experienced this. He goes on to say, the love current is not a projection of the will. It is a setting free of a natural, equalizing, harmonizing force that in most persons has been dammed up by human limitations. You go, Charles Fillmore. Unfathomable good will circulate to us and through us as if we were willing to ask the question. Hone a few skills and trust love will set itself free in us. Charles goes on to say, love is a force that runs in the mind and body, like molten gold in a furnace. It does not mix with the baser metals. It has no affinity for anything less than itself. Love is patient. It never gets weary or discouraged. Love is always kind and gentle. It does not envy. Jealousy has no place in the world. Love never becomes puffed up with human pride and does not brag about itself. It is love that makes the refinement of the natural gentleman or lady, although he or she may be ignorant of the world's standards or culture. Love does not seek its own. Its own comes to it without being sought. We seem to have two realities, the world of being and the world of doing. When both are understood separately and then seen as one, we unfold the unifying force. The reality of being is comprised of seeing, listening, feeling, knowing, allowing, relaxing, loving, and letting go, and choicelessness, which is the world of our true nature. Conflict only arises when doing takes priority over being. In truth, it is being that acts. So let me give you a description of that. A lot of people say, or we used to think, if I had the coolest car ever, then I would be doing all kinds of fun things with my car, and then I would be happy. And the truth is, it's the opposite. When I be happy, my being of happiness pulls to me things to do that make me happy. And then I will have the cars or whatever it is. It starts with our way of being. And it's not intuitive. And I know you've heard this before, but I brought this up because I needed the reminder. And if I needed the reminder, hopefully some of you need the reminder too. It starts with our being. I can be really good at doing. And I do not enjoy life when I'm doing. I have to sit back and be love. Sit in silence. Clear and cleanse those old memories from the past. And make a commitment to be love, to be my knowing. And then I will walk right into having the things that I want in my life, instead of focusing on the past. So being always comes before doing. It's just that we're not conscious of how we're being. Arnold Schwarzenegger, he was champion of the world in bodybuilding. And people said, now what? You've reached, your top goal. Now what do you want to do? And he said, I want to be a famous movie star. And everyone laughed at him because he has this god-awful Austrian accent. And people didn't think he could act. And here he is, this big, bulky guy. They laughed at him. Until now he's the most famous person in the world. I mean, people know who Arnold Schwarzenegger is. Everyone knows of him. And when people asked, how did you do that? He said, I saw it. And I acted as if that was true. And it went right that way for him. He just started with his being and created that life. He never lost sight of that goal. So being is the unifying force and creates all of your doing. And also it's without the recognition that it is so. So you might say, I would really love to have that car. And if I had that car, I would be driving to a cool place and I'll be happy. But the reality is, if I'm being happy, then I will be doing the fun things and I will have what I want. Now, when you start recognizing this wonder and miracle of life, something inside of you begins to awaken. I remember when I was taught the be, do, have model. It was exciting. It's like the wave of the ocean realizing that it's not the wave, but the ocean itself. You're not the form, but the life, existence itself, looking at itself. You start to actually hear this statement. You are life itself, recognizing itself. You don't awaken from your sleep. You realize you have never been asleep, but unconscious of reality. Being is love. The awakening to existence, life itself, is the awakening of love. An awakened author, Richard Allen, put it beautifully when he summed up not his own life, but the life of his father. His father started out very negative and controlling. He struggled to get rid of his own negativity and judgmental attitude and became a being of total and unconditional love. His love was so strong and wonderful that he passed it on to his children. At the end of his life, Richard wrote this poem about the meaning of life. When you love, give it everything you've got. And when you have reached your limit, give it more. As you face your death, it is only the love that you have given and received which will count. All the rest, the accomplishments, the struggle, the conflicts, will be forgotten in your reflection of love. And if you have loved well, then it will all have been worth it. And the joy of it will last you through the end. But if you have not, death will always come too soon and be terrible to face. This poem was quoted by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. Love is the only thing that works to bring perfect harmony, oneness, connection, understanding, freedom, and peace. So we are charged with those things this beautiful Sunday morning as we remember God's words to Moses. Take your shoes off your feet, for the place on which you stand is holy ground. So let's take this into a song that hopefully you all know. It's called You Are So Beautiful, which is by Joe Cocker. But I want you to sing this song to yourself. And I want you to make contact with the higher self, your soul, the God within you, the one who's never been hurt, ever. The one who is pure love. And I want that being to sing to your human being, the one who has an ego, the one who messes things up and causes all the suffering when we are busy doing instead of being. So let's close our eyes and sing along with me, remembering it's your soul, your highest truth, the God within you, singing to your human. You are so beautiful to me. You are so beautiful to me. Can't you see everything I hope for? You're everything I need. You are so beautiful to me. I am so beautiful to me. And we close with the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. And wherever we are, God is, and all is well. God bless you all. I love you and I miss you. And I know that this too shall pass. And until then, be love. Be love. I love you so much.